Welcome, brave souls, to Into the Crawl Space, the channel where we dive deep into the hidden, the eerie, and the unknown. I'm Bates, your guide through the shadows, and together we'll explore chilling tales, spine-tingling mysteries, and the secrets lurking beneath our feet. So grab your flashlight, because you never know what you might find lurking in the dark. When Clara and I first set eyes on the old Victorian house, we were enchanted. It loomed at the end of a quiet street, a testament to a bygone era, its peeling paint and creaky porch whispering tales of the past. The neighbors welcomed us with warm smiles, but maintained an unsettling reserve, as if they were guardians of some dark secret that had long tethered them to this place. We shrugged it off. Every neighborhood has its quirks, we told ourselves. The first night, as I lay awake, I felt a prickle on the back of my neck. Clara snored softly beside me, completely at ease. I couldn't shake the sensation of being watched. I convinced myself it was just the house settling. But when I finally drifted off, a faint sound jolted me awake, a whisper, soft and eerie, like someone speaking just outside our window. "Did you hear that?" I whispered to Clara, but she merely murmured in her sleep and rolled away. I slipped out of bed, tiptoeing to the window, but the street lay silent under the pale moonlight. I told myself it was just my imagination, but unease gnawed at me like a hungry rat. As days turned into weeks, the whispers persisted, growing louder and more insistent. I could never make out the words, but they became a twisted lullaby that invaded my dreams, luring me into a fog of dread. Clara, however, seemed oblivious, diving into home projects, blissfully rearranging furniture and painting walls. I envied her peace, feeling increasingly like an intruder in my own home. One evening, after an exhausting day, Clara suggested we explore the attic together. I hesitated, but she insisted. The attic was a cramped, dust-laden space filled with old furniture and forgotten memories. Among the cobwebs, I discovered a large trunk, its lock rusted and aged. My heart raced as I pried it open with a screwdriver, my curiosity overpowering my sense of caution. Inside, I found yellowed papers and photographs of families who had lived here before us. As I sifted through the contents, a chill washed over me. The families smiled in the photographs, but their eyes held a haunting emptiness, a void that seemed to reach out from the pages. I pulled out a picture of a couple that made my skin crawl. They looked strikingly familiar. I flipped it over, and the date scrawled on the back sent a shiver down my spine. 1975. Below it, in elegant cursive, was a name, Clara. I staggered back, breath hitching in my throat. No, it couldn't be. I shoved the items back into the trunk, my mind racing. This was some sort of cruel coincidence, right? I needed to tell Clara, but the idea terrified me. What if this was just my imagination spiraling out of control? That night, sleep eluded me. The whispers echoed in my mind, louder and more urgent, wrapping around me like a shroud. Unable to bear it any longer, I crept downstairs, drawn to the front door. I stepped outside, the cool night air biting at my skin. The street was still, the houses looming like silent shadows, their windows dark and uninviting. I wandered down the empty street, the whispers guiding me toward a narrow alley that separated our home from the neighbors. Shadows flitted just beyond the edges of my vision, darting away whenever I tried to look closely. The whispers became clearer, almost melodic, urging me forward. Compelled, I followed the sounds until I stumbled into a small clearing at the end of the alley. There, surrounded by a flickering fire pit, stood the neighbors, their faces illuminated by the flames. They turned to me in unison, smiles wide yet hollow, their eyes glinting like polished stones. "Join us," one of them said, voice smooth as silk. "We've been waiting for you." Panic clawed at my throat. "What do you want?" I stammered, trying to back away, but my feet felt heavy, rooted to the ground. "Clara belongs with us," he said. And then she emerged from the shadows, her expression disturbingly serene, as if she were in a trance. "She's one of us now," he continued, his words slicing through the cool night air, just like the others. "Stop," I shouted, desperation surging within me. But Clara's gaze was distant, as if she were gazing at something beyond my reach, beyond this world. The realization crashed over me like icy water. The neighbors weren't just welcoming, they were beckoning her home to a place I could not follow. The fire flickered ominously, casting twisted shadows that danced and writhed. I felt the whispers surge, a cacophony of voices merging into one. "Join us," they murmured. And suddenly I saw the faces of the families in the photographs trapped, forever frozen in a perpetual state of joy. their eyes vacant, longing for something they could never have. "Clara!" I yelled, rushing toward her, but the neighbors stepped in, their hands stretching out, ethereal and insistent. "She's ours," they chanted, and I felt a crushing weight on my chest, as if the very air around me had turned to lead. I lunged for her, my heart racing, but the fire's light flickered, revealing the true horror of their faces twisted, contorted, mouths wide in unnatural smiles. The warmth of the flames twisted into something menacing, wrapping around me like a serpent. I realized then that the whispers had been calling to me too, promising a place among them, a belonging I didn't want. As I struggled, Clara's expression shifted. For the first time, a flicker of recognition sparked in her eyes. "Help me," she whispered, and my heart broke. But the neighbors tightened their grip, pulling her back into the circle, chanting a word I couldn't understand. In a final desperate move, I reached for her hand, feeling the warmth of her skin. "Clara, fight it! Come back to me." But as our fingers brushed, I felt a coldness seep into me, a darkness that clawed at my soul. With a final shattering scream, Clara was pulled away, her vacant gaze returning as she turned back to the fire, joining the ranks of those who had come before. I stumbled back, gasping for breath, as the neighbors closed in, their smiles widening into grotesque grins. I fled down the alley, the whispers growing fainter behind me, the laughter of the neighbors echoing in my ears. But even as I ran, I could feel the house looming behind me, alive with a hunger I couldn't comprehend. I knew then that I had not escaped. The house had claimed Clara, and it would not let me go. Days passed, each night more haunting than the last. I tried to leave, but something tethered me to that street, that house. The neighbors watched from their windows, their eyes glinting in the darkness, waiting for the next offering. And every night as I lay awake, I could still hear Clara's voice in the whispers, drawing me closer to the truth that the house was alive, and I was its next intended sacrifice. One evening as I sat in the living room, the shadows began to twist and stretch, creeping closer. I felt their cold fingers brushing against my skin. The whispers returned, stronger than ever, a chorus beckoning me to join them. And in that moment, I realized the ultimate horror. I had become a part of their story, forever entwined with the darkness that haunted the house. The walls echoed with laughter, the whispers grew louder, and the boundary between the living and the lost began to blur. As night fell, I heard Clara's voice again, sweet and inviting. The firelight flickered in my mind, and I knew it was only a matter of time before I would find my place among the others trapped in the haunting embrace of a house that was never truly ours. And that wraps up our exploration for today. What did you think of the hidden horrors we uncovered? Let me know in the comments below. Remember, the crawl space holds many secrets, and we've only just scratched the surface. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more spine-chilling stories and explorations. Until next time, keep your lights on and your curiosity alive. Who knows what might be waiting just around the corner or beneath the floorboards?